Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and stay with us till the end. Because today's story isn't just about music. It's about resilience, loss, and a legend who may finally be slowing down after a lifetime of running. For decades, Dwight Yoakam was seen as unbreakable. In an industry that chewed artists up and spat them out, he stood firm, stubborn, and fearless. Rejection never bent him. Failure never stopped him. Financial ruin never silenced him. And yet, in recent weeks, fans have sensed something different. Canceled appearances. Quiet hospital visits in Los Angeles. Interviews delivered with a weight that wasn't there before. For the first time, Dwight Yoakam doesn't sound like a man planning his next move. He sounds like a man reflecting on distance already traveled, on roads that don't loop back. It has shaken fans who grew up believing he would outlast time itself. The honky-tonk rebel who outran Nashville, Hollywood, and heartbreak now speaks with a softness that feels unfamiliar. Not weak, just human. And that's why his story deserves to be told again, not as a highlight reel, but as a full, honest journey of a boy who never stopped moving, until maybe now. Dwight David Yoakam was born on October 23, 1956, in Pikeville, Kentucky, a coal town where life was hard, futures were uncertain, and dreams rarely escaped the mountains. His earliest memories were shaped by poverty, by families scraping by, and by the quiet understanding that opportunities were limited. When the coal industry collapsed, his family joined thousands of others fleeing Appalachia in search of survival. They moved north to Columbus, Ohio, a shift that changed Dwight forever. Kentucky wasn't just a place, it was an identity, and leaving it carved a hollow ache into him that would echo through his music for decades. Route 23 became more than a road. It became a symbol of loss, longing, and separation. His father once tried to learn guitar but eventually handed it to young Dwight, unknowingly changing the course of his son's life. At just 8 years old, Dwight wrote his first song. Music wasn't a hobby. It was a lifeline, the only place where the homesick boy could feel whole again. Growing up in Columbus, Dwight felt like an outsider, but radio became his refuge. Late at night, crackling signals carried voices that sounded like truth itself. Johnny Cash, Johnny Horton, Buck Owens, men who sang like they had lived hard and paid for it. Dwight didn't just listen, he studied. He learned that country music wasn't about perfection, it was about confession. At Northland High School, he also discovered acting, taking on emotionally heavy roles that demanded vulnerability far beyond his years. Playing characters in productions like Flowers for Algernon, and The Miracle Worker taught him that storytelling could move people deeply. For the first time, Dwight realized he had the power to make others feel something real. By his senior year, he had formed a band called the Greaser Band, playing anywhere that would have them, bars, parties, broken-down venues. He was restless, driven, and already searching for something bigger than Ohio could offer. College didn't last long. In 1974, he dropped out of Ohio State University, convinced his future waited elsewhere. That elsewhere was Nashville. Like so many before him, Dwight believed Music City was the promised land. But when he arrived, reality hit hard. Nashville didn't want raw. It didn't want pain. It wanted polish, crossover appeal, and safe voices that wouldn't scare radio programmers. Dwight Yoakam was none of those things. With his Bakersfield twang, ripped jeans, and unapologetic honky-tonk edge, he was treated like an inconvenience. Executives told him he was too country, a phrase that felt absurd in a city built on the genre. One of his most humiliating moments came at Operaland, where he auditioned hopping for even a small opportunity. After pouring his heart out, he wasn't chosen as a main performer, only listed as an alternate in case someone else dropped out. That quiet dismissal hurt more than outright rejection. It told him he didn't matter. And eventually, Dwight understood the truth. Nashville wasn't going to change for him, so he did what few artists dared to do. He left. In 1978, Dwight packed his car and drove west to Los Angeles, not with a plan, but with desperation. LA wasn't known for country music, but it welcomed outsiders. Punk bands, rockabilly rebels, and misfits of every kind filled the clubs, and nobody cared if you followed rules because there were none. Dwight worked exhausting day jobs loading docks and folding clothes, then played wherever he could at night. Something unexpected happened. Punk audiences connected with his music instantly. They didn't care that it was country. They cared that it was honest. His songs were raw, loud, and emotionally naked, everything punk stood for. Clubs like Madame Wung's and the Hong Kong Cafe became his proving grounds. Out of this unlikely fusion, a new movement emerged, Cowpunk. It was chaotic, fearless, and alive. For the first time, Dwight felt understood. Then in 1982, fate stepped in when he met guitarist and producer Pete Anderson, a man who instantly grasped his vision. Together, they would build a sound Nashville never saw coming. By 1984, Dwight was still broke and unknown, but he believed in one last chance. Borrowing $5,000 from friends and maxed out credit cards, he recorded an EP on a tiny label. He named it Guitars, Cadillacs, etc., etc., a title that sounded like a challenge. Nashville laughed. Lowe's Angels listened. The EP spread like wildfire through underground scenes. Punk kids loved it. Rockabilly fans embraced it. Even people who hated country music couldn't ignore the power in his voice. In 1986, Warner Reprise signed him and re-released the EP as a full album. What followed stunned the industry. The album went double platinum, dominated charts for years, and produced massive hits. When Honky-Tonk Man became the first country video played on MTV, Dwight Yoakam didn't just enter pop culture, he tore through it. The outsider had won, but success came at a brutal cost. Dwight toured relentlessly, recorded constantly, and demanded perfection from himself and everyone around him. He was chasing something he couldn't name, and it was exhausting him. In 1989, he released I Sang Dixie, a heartbreaking song about a dying Southern man ignored on a Lowe's Angels sidewalk. It hit #1, but its sadness reflected Dwight's own emotional state. Fame surrounded him, yet loneliness followed closely behind. Relationships struggled to survive his intensity and privacy. By the early 1990s, Dwight was a superstar, but cracks were forming beneath the surface. Then Hollywood called. In 1996, his chilling performance in Sling Blade shocked audiences. Gone was the charming cowboy. In his place stood something terrifyingly real. The film won awards, and Dwight earned respect as a serious actor. But while his career expanded, his personal life continued to unravel. High-profile relationships ended painfully, and friends described him as loyal but unreachable, a man who wanted connection but didn't know how to keep it. The moment that nearly destroyed him came in 2000. Dwight poured everything into a passion project, South of Heaven, West of Hell. When funding collapsed days before filming, he chose pride over safety and financed it himself, selling his Malibu home. Disaster followed. Costs exploded. Lawsuits mounted. The film flopped catastrophically. His production company collapsed. He fired longtime band members. Worst of all, his 2-decade partnership with Pete Anderson ended in bitterness. Though Dwight continued acting and recording, the fire that once drove him burned quieter now. The industry moved on. Tour slowed. Appearances became rare. Fans noticed the change. Then came silence and worry. In recent years, Dwight has withdrawn further from the spotlight. Canceled shows, rare interviews, and sightings at medical centers have fueled concern. Yet behind the mystery, something beautiful happened. In 2020, he quietly married Emily Joyce. Soon after, at 63, he became a father. Those close to him say fatherhood changed him deeply. For the first time, he wasn't chasing anything. He was holding onto something real. Now, as fans wonder what comes next, one truth stands firm. Dwight Yoakam already rewrote history. He revived a sound, broke barriers, and proved authenticity always wins. Whatever the future holds, his legacy is untouchable. Time may slow the cowboy, but it will never erase his mark.